Hi everyone, welcome back to TechCravers and another video. Today we're going to learn how to transfer every single shiny Pokémon from Generation 1 all the way up to Generation 7, that's Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon on the Nintendo 3DS, into Pokémon Home on your Nintendo Switch 2. This means you'll be able to use them not only in games that already support Pokémon Home, but also in upcoming titles like Pokémon Legends CA. The process is actually pretty simple, but there's one catch. You'll need a modded Nintendo 3DS running custom firmware, since we'll be moving save files between your computer and your Nintendo 3DS. Of course, I have videos on how to modify your Nintendo 3DS, so go check those out before watching this video if you haven't done it already. You'll also need a Pokémon Home Premium subscription to transfer your Pokémon from the 3DS to your Switch 2. It only costs about $3 for 1 month, and you can cancel the subscription right after you're done with the transfer. Now, if you got any questions, feel free to drop them down below. Otherwise, grab your favorite drink, sit back, and let's get started. The first thing you need to do is to make sure you have played and saved a game of Pokémon Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon at least once. Keep in mind, what we're about to do will overwrite your original save file, so if you don't want to lose it, make sure to create a backup of it first. Once you got the save in place, you can close the game and open Checkpoint instead. Checkpoint is a homebrew app that lets you manage your game saves. You can back them up, restore them, or even import new ones. Inside Checkpoint, start by selecting your game on the top screen and press A. Then choose Backup. You can either press the on-screen button or simply hold down the L button on your 3DS. Select a name that you will remember for your save file and hit OK. This will create a backup of your save file and it will be stored safely on your microSD card. Once you have created your backup, go ahead and close Checkpoint, remove your microSD card from your 3DS and head over to your PC instead. Click the first link in the video description, the one labeled PKHeX download. That link will take you to Project Pokémon, where you can download a Pokémon save game editor. In short, PKHeX lets you create almost any Pokémon you can imagine with any stats, moves or abilities that you want. But a quick warning, if you use impossible or hacked Pokémon online, Nintendo can suspend your access to certain online features. So use PKHeX at your own risk. But don't worry, what we're going to do here today is perfectly safe and not likely to trigger any Nintendo ninjas. We're going to download a save file that already contains over 900 Pokémon, covering everything from Generation 1 all the way up to Generation 7. You can find it by clicking the second link in the video description. And just like the description says, every Pokémon that can legally be obtained as a shiny has its shiny form in this save file. The rest are included in the regular versions. Around 90% of the Pokémons were hatched or captured in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which means they are fully legal and can be used on BattleSpot. So basically, it's the ultimate completely legal collection of shiny and rare Pokémon ready to be transferred. That said, I just want to make it absolutely clear I take no responsibility for what happens to your online services if you decide to follow this process. Even though Nintendo doesn't seem to care or detect this kind of thing right now, there's always a chance they could decide to swing the ban hammer in the future. So proceed carefully, and as always, you're doing this entirely at your own risk. Then on your computer, simply drag and drop the save file you just downloaded into PKHeX to see everything that's included. And trust me, there are some serious rarities in here. Once you're done exploring, go to File, Export SAV and create the new save file for your 3DS. Make sure to name it Main, all lowercase letters. Now insert your microSD card into your computer and open it up. Go into the 3DS folder, then the Checkpoint folder, and then Saves. Open the Pokémon Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon folder, depending on which game you're using, and inside that folder you'll see a folder with the name you gave your backup earlier in Checkpoint. That's where your current save file is stored. Simply replace that file with the one you just exported from PKHeX. And that's it for the computer part. Go ahead and insert your microSD card back into your 3DS and power it on. Once your 3DS is powered on, open Checkpoint again and select your game on the top screen. This time, instead of choosing Backup, select the same save name you created earlier. Then tap on Restore, or simply press the R button on your 3DS. This will replace your in-game save with the new one you edited earlier in PKHeX. go ahead and start your Pokemon game again just to make sure it's there. And as you can see, my boxes are absolutely packed with rare and shiny Pokemon. It's honestly pretty amazing to scroll through and see just how many unique Pokemon are in this save. Alright, go ahead and open Pokémon Bank on your 3DS. If you downloaded it before Nintendo shut down the 3DS eShop, you can still access and use it. But if you didn't download it back then, don't worry, you can still get it using HShop, which is a homebrew version of the eShop that lets you download Pokémon Bank from non-Nintendo servers. I won't be showing how to do that in this video, but there are plenty of tutorials out there that can walk you through it. Oh, and one more thing, make sure your Nintendo account or Nintendo Network ID is linked to your 3DS before continuing. Otherwise, Pokémon Bank won't work properly. Now, both Pokémon Bank and Pokémon Home can be a bit of a mess on the server side, at least if you ask me. Sometimes they freeze up or even shut down temporarily. Just be patient and persistent and you'll get it eventually. And once you're in, select Use Pokémon Bank and then choose the save file you want to work with. When you see your in-game Pokemon boxes on the bottom screen and the Pokemon Bank boxes on the top screen, you can start transferring your Pokemons to Pokemon Bank. And here's a tip, if you don't want to move all 900 Pokemons one by one, just press start to turn the cursor green. That lets you move entire boxes at once. And when you have finally moved all your Pokemon from the save file into Pokemon Bank, you can rename the boxes if you want, it makes things a bit easier to keep track of later. Otherwise, just press X to save your changes and all your Pokemon will now be safely stored in Pokemon Bank and synced to the cloud. Alright guys, it's all downhill from here. On your Nintendo Switch 2, or the original Switch of course, go ahead and download Pokémon Home from the eShop and fire it up. And if it's the first time you use it, you need to go through a few terms of use and setup screens before you get to the good stuff. From here you want to click the icon that looks like a 3DS and says Move. But it won't work just yet, because you're currently on the Pokémon Home Basic plan. To fix that, click the Nintendo eShop button at the bottom right corner and sign up for a premium plan. You can subscribe for as long as you like, but I went with the 1 month option and made sure auto renewal was turned off. Like I mentioned earlier, it costs around $3 for 1 month and it's absolutely required if you want to continue with this guide. Once you got the premium plan, back on your Switch 2, you'll notice the eShop button is now gone. Go ahead and click the Move button again to start the transfer process from Pokémon Bank to Pokémon Home. And honestly, this is probably the most typically Nintendo way of doing things ever, and you'll notice why in just a few seconds. Anyway, click Begin Move on your Switch. Now switch over to your 3DS and open up Pokémon Bank again. Tap Move Pokémon to Pokémon Home, then select Begin and choose all the boxes that you want to transfer. Back on your Nintendo Switch 2, click forward until you can see a move key, a code that's only valid for 3 minutes. Quickly enter the key on your 3DS before the timer runs out, and then press OK to start the transfer. And when the transfer is finally complete, you can go ahead and open Pokémon Home again. I actually got a few error messages the first time I tried to launch it, so don't worry if that happens to you too. Just restart it and try again. Once it's working, you'll see a message saying that you can now move your Pokémon from Pokémon Bank to Pokémon Home, but you can't move them back once the transfer is done. Since that's exactly what we want to do, go ahead and click Continue and select all boxes as they are, and then it may take a few minutes, but eventually you'll see a message confirming that your Pokémon have successfully been transferred from Bank to Home. And that's it for this tutorial on how to get every legal, shiny and rare Pokémon from Generation 1 through 7 all stored and ready to use in compatible Pokémon games available today, and of course in upcoming ones like Pokémon Legends CA, which releases in just over a week. Even if you're not planning to play Pokémon on your Nintendo Switch 2, it's still incredibly satisfying, especially for all your completionists out there, to have this one-of-a-kind collection safely and stored in your own Pokémon library. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to leave a comment and drop a like, and of course subscribe to TechCravers for more awesome content in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.